Welcome to NQ80 Daily, and today we're going to preview Liverpool versus Manchester United. I'm Ed with Tom today. How's it going, Tom?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all well. We were just talking before we came on air about how you're going to the big match of the weekend, Elche versus Las Palmas in the Copa del Rey. Should be an exciting one.
The big one, yeah. I actually got an offer. Well, this probably isn't that surprising, but I got offered a ticket for United on Sunday because there's probably like no one who really actually wants to go watch us lose 8-0. But yeah, I am in Spain seeing my parents, and I'm going to midday Elche versus Las Palmas in the Copa del Rey. And Las Palmas have been quite good this season. They've got Ollie McBurney playing for them, and Kieran McKenna, who's also Scottish. So very random, but I think they've done all right.
The funny thing is, I did read an article about Ollie McBurney playing in Spain. So at some point,
was it Sid Lowe who wrote one?
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, because it's kind of curiosity, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of a football culture shock going from Sheffield United to Segunda Liga
Gran
or
Canaria, isn't it? I think Las Palmas. Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know. Lovely.
All right. We're doing everything to talk about Liverpool versus United, aren't we? So,
yeah.
On the one hand, look, I'm as cynical as the next United fan. But we're not playing well. Liverpool playing great, and Ruben Amorim doesn't appear to have found the right kind of formula to get these players together. He's had almost no training time. Liverpool scoring bag loads of goals, including last weekend, and so you can all be really cynical and going, "Yeah, we're going to get hammered." I just don't. It's okay when United fans say that. It's when non-United fans say it that it starts to wind me up. Like every pundit on TalkSport and Sky Sports is like, "Yeah, they're going to hammer them 8-0." I'm like, you wouldn't say that every other week they're playing someone 13th in the league. I mean, there's like a culture of negativity around United, which is kind of. It's all right when you're in the club, we're allowed to do it. It's outside the club that's winding me up. So, anyway.
Yeah, I get that same. But I feel like the other ones surprised us a little bit though when we got battered. I mean, the Ranić one when we lost 4-0, maybe not because it was Ranić and everything was going to turn into disaster. But this one we go in with our hopes down, so therefore hopefully we'll have, I don't know, more steel about us. I think last season we went in with a lot of negativity and we ended up drawing 0-0 and being one of the first teams to stop Liverpool scoring for a long time, stop them winning for a long time as well. So it's impossible to predict this United team as always. So I think for us to go in expecting it's going to get battered again is kind of, I know we have been battered there a couple of times, but yeah, I don't think it's dealing in reality somewhat.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not expecting some massive thrashing. I mean, it might be comfortable. Who knows? But I figure that they'll have a game plan. I mean, given they had midweek off, they've had a couple of extra days to work on whatever they're going to do here. I wonder whether there's going to be any major change because the last few games he's played both Mazraoui and Dalot at fullback. I'm not sure it's worked. He's turned into a flat back five every time. I guess the one upside is Ugarte's back. I mean, he provides a defensive screen. Mainu was excellent when he came on against Newcastle. Definitely changed things around in terms of his intensity. I think he played an hour and he got something like 9 interceptions. And obviously Bruno Fernandes is back. That one's a little more tricky because obviously he's by far and away the most creative player at United. Just like seeing all the data, but also the Premier League. He leads chance creation over 2024. It's just like where he fits in the team and like how you get your most creative player the most effective seems to have been a problem under Amorim. Not, I guess, unsurprising really, but left-sided attacker of a inside number 10 is a slightly odd position for him. So there's that question on the tactical side. And then after that, it's kind of all personnel, isn't it? Because we kind of know how Amorim sets his team up now. It's not like that's going to be a big shock, whereas Ten Hag changed it every week. And so we know what you're going to do in terms of shape, and it's just like, okay, which personnel fits into which position this time around?
Yeah, I think the shape thing is becoming more of a problem than I thought it would actually. I thought our players will be slow to kind of adapt to it, and they are, and we are just really really shit at playing the system at the moment. Like we created nothing on Monday night, and we were just first 20 minutes. I can't remember as bad. It was as bad as that ever. My dad, who's been a United fan since a kid, literally said it was the worst 20 minutes he's ever seen from a United team, which is going some. I don't know if he was just being a bit exaggerating. I guess we all have that recency bias, but it did feel like I can't remember ever watching United 20 minutes was worse than that. But yeah, Bruno coming back into the team helps with the creativity, but the system and the formation itself is. I put on Blue Sky this saying we're really bad at playing the formation, and also everyone knows what formation we're going to play. Like obviously, Amarim said today, oh yeah, we have different styles and we have different. We set up differently for each team that we play against, and that is all true. But the system is the system, in kind of general broad terms, and our players still don't know in the right position to stand. They don't know the way to build up properly right at the moment. They don't know how to create chances. They're still not particularly amazing at pressing. They're better than they have been, but still not incredible at it. And the way that Newcastle were just able to pierce through us so easily, we were always half a yard off. And I guess that was also because we played Casemiro and Ericsson and Xerxes to a certain extent, who were all kind of quite slow, and therefore not the greatest pressers. But still, like a team should not be able to do what Newcastle did to us on Monday night. Especially, it wasn't even like they were passing incisively or with any kind of speed that you're like, wow, this is mesmeric. Therefore, the fact that we're completely unpredictable in the way that we're set up, and we're also really shit at the way we set up, kind of means that we're almost like one of the worst teams to play at one of the worst teams right now in the league. And that is, I guess, seen in the form table as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all kind of going wrong. I thought Ruben got it wrong against Newcastle, and it's really the first time
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is all out. And I guess it was a lot to do with trying to protect Menu and his load, and they're just not wanting injuries. I mean, if you look at the pattern of injuries, like the total number and the types of injuries across the past two seasons, and then just draw a line and go Ruben Amorim. Now we could just go, okay, it's just luck. We've got them. Everyone just happens to be fit at the right time, coming back for Amorim, or something's changed and they're not getting as many muscle injuries, right? And he's substituting and rotating a lot, so it kind of hints to me that they're using the data science to look at the total load, and they're just trying to protect the players, and that's what he did. And so I kind of understand it, but it was the worst possible setup for Newcastle, and almost felt like he hadn't been watching Newcastle much this season. You look at their intensity in pressing, and the fact that you just get very little time on the ball at the back, and they create a lot of turnovers, especially their physicality in midfield. And you're like, it just, as soon as you saw the team, you're like, yeah, this doesn't feel right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so just defaulted into that two old men in front of a flat back five. And it's like almost played that first half an hour, almost played like, a relegation fodder team against the top team, and just
it was
hoping
exactly
to survive.
that. I've met that. Yeah.
It's really painful to watch. And so I just feel like there's something different that's got to happen against Liverpool. Not that I expect United to be completely open and super attacking. And, you expect to be under pressure against the best team in the league this season. Of course you do, right? And that's kind of natural. But it can't just be flat back five with two sitting in front, just waiting for them to move us around and create the openings, right? So there has to be some attacking out there. And so I'm wondering whether there's a plan. I mean, is he going to go with Ahmad in front of Mazraoui on the right-hand side again? Because it appears to it appears to have like played into the opposition's hand a little bit. Ahmad had less space to work in almost than playing at right wing back, and Mazraoui isn't. I just don't. It's not like he's bad there. I think he's a great footballer, but he's just not that physical. He doesn't get up and down quite as much as you
No,
might
he never
want from a wing
has.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you feel like you're exposing his weakness there, and they allowed Newcastle to double or triple up on Ahmad. I just like
Yeah.
allow the ball to be shifted to the other side where you got Dallo on his wrong foot, and then whoever, either Bruno, like sometimes in the game previously, sometimes like with his back to goal, like in the left inside forward position, like just the worst kind of position for Bruno, and it's just just don't want that happening again because Bruno won't be able to create chances. He'll have no pace in the attack, and will just default to defending with a 5 across the back. And I don't think that's what Ruben Amorim had planned when he came in, like what looks like quite a negative setup.
No, and I feel like we need more runners. We need more dynamism in the attacking spaces as well. Like because, like you say, like Ahmad had a real shocker of a game. I feel on Monday just because he was surrounded every time he got the ball, and also it felt like he needed to be the spot because no one around him was being that spot. Therefore, I think almost playing someone like Garnacho as a 9 in this game may be something that we can try or something because, well, for one, Garnacho just doesn't seem to fit into this system. I know Ruben's had his run-ins, whatever that is, with Garnacho and left him out of the squad for, potentially not training hard enough or I don't know what it is, but I feel like in this game, maybe just playing them as a 9, if we're going to counter attack, might be the best way to get in behind Van Dijk a little bit, kind of just working those pockets in between because he's really good in the pockets, and I feel like and he also has the ability to kind of just go from side to side a little bit more than he would do if he was kind of just playing in that left channel, whereas he keeps having to feel like he pull inside, and then give the ball to the left wing back who's probably not far enough forward anyway. So I almost feel like playing Ahmad on the right wing back would be a good thing to do, just in terms of literally getting us up the field. And Carragher kind of outlined that really, really well on MNF, when we're playing Dallo on left wing. I mean, we need to find an alternative for that because that is
Yeah,
it's just terrible over and over again. And Bruno's obviously going to play. Well, you think he's going to play behind those two strikers, and I feel like if playing Garnacho there, it just negates everything that he's good at currently. And with Hoyland, he's very hit and miss, and he looked pretty poor in the last game. He's looked pretty poor for 2 or 3 games now. Xerxes isn't going to be the man because Liverpool play with such pace, such ferocity and such physicality. I feel you just be bullied off the pitch. So maybe having that Garnacho just to, I don't know. He's never played as a 9 for United, and I feel like
yeah,
in this system it may be place for him to work, or it might even be his best position, or at least try it a little bit because he's always tried. I know Rashford's not going to play on Sunday because of an illness. He's always kind of, and everyone have always kind of pushed Rashford to play in that position, but never have given Garnacho a chance. And he did play there, obviously, as a youth. And he doesn't have the greatest frame. Maybe his back to goal, he won't be good. But those types of strikers sometimes do make it in the Premier League. Like, you don't have to be a big Xerxes type to do it. And I don't know, it's worth a
yeah.
shot, I think, at this point.
Well, it's a kind of interesting question, isn't it? Because if you take that plus a few of the other players, then what you get is not it's not so much square pegs round holes that Eric Ten Hag used to do all the time. It's that you're taking your most creative players and they've kind of all been either isolated in terms of their roles and their positions or kicked out the team altogether. And so
Yeah.
suddenly you had, like for whatever reason, Marcus Rashford is not in the team. And I'm sure some conspiracy theorists online go, oh, convenient illness or something today. Um, who knows? He's been kicked out of the team, and so's Garnacho effectively. And you're like, okay, well, those are two of our brightest attackers. Hoyland is extremely isolated. They're just not able to get someone close to him. Cut's a very frustrated figure all of the time. You've got two wing backs who basically aren't like comfortable in those positions. I think with Mazraoui, as I said, not that physical, and Dalot constantly on his right foot, not his left, and a solid 6.5 out of 10 at everything, and an 8 at nothing. And it feels like I totally understand. Like if you're saying, okay, we're just gonna results gonna be bad, but they'll be good enough that we don't go down. Um, and maybe we can do something in the Europa, and we're just going to use this season to bed everyone in. We haven't got the money to go buy 8 new players for this squad because we did that for Ten Hag instead. And we need to write off the second half of the season, learning how to play this system in real detail, and it'll start to show in the spring and May, and then we'll be ready to go next season, right? I guess that's one theory. Right? It's completely hypothetical, but you could go, okay, that's what he's doing. Problem is, it's Manchester United, and you have to get some results, and the pressure will start to build and build and build and build, and he may lose confidence of the players as well, and that's not a situation you want to get into, right? Where the crowd is on your back or on players' backs, and they do that now. They didn't used to. You know, everyone is way too online. And the atmosphere starts to get toxic, and so Jim starts to get twitchy, and it could like really descend into something really unpleasant, basically. And that's kind of, I feel like Amorim's close to that trap, right? And he does need to get results. And I understand the kind of dichotomy here, because that's what Ten Hag did. He abandoned his principles, and he said, "Okay, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do to get results."
Yeah, and I think partly we're going to kind of realize soon how high our pain threshold is as fans and as the board as well, because as if we just keep losing, actually, I think we'll probably lose our next 2 at least. I think we've got Southampton at home after that, so surely we won't lose that. But the next 2 at least, the media is just going to get on us, especially if the next 2 losses are bad as well. And also, the belief will start to dissipate in the squad as well. And yeah, we can say, and this is the theory, like you say, that the players will get used to it, and in the springtime we'll start to see successes. But what if the players just don't get used to it, which can really easily happen, because one, the players, a lot of them aren't that good, really. They don't feel that adaptable, especially like someone like, if we just continue to play Dalot at left wing back, he's not going to turn into Roberto Carlos. And also, therefore, if we keep losing games, the belief in the players' belief in Amorim will just completely dissipate as well. So we get round to spring, we're going to probably still be losing games. And even if Amorim does make it to the summer, what's to say that the players now automatically believe in what he's going to do? Like, I think, if we get to the summer, then things might start to turn around. He can bring a few of his own players in, get rid of a few. We've got a full preseason to work on everything. But still, that like perception is so much, is the reality so much in football. And if our players don't perceive Amorim to be the man anymore, our fans don't perceive them Amorim to be the man, the board probably, because definitely we've seen, like with Ratcliffe at Nice, and also with what he's been like with Ashworth, like he starts to get like itchy feet.
Yeah.
Like, will he like lose belief in Amorim? Like, there's so many things that can happen. So you can't have long-term potential success without short-term gains. Like, they don't exist in a different world, in my opinion. So we need some type of short-term progress to get the belief in place, and also to make the players, well, to improve the players as well, and to have them on side and everything like that. And that's my problem right now. It feels like we're playing in a sandpit, but this is real life, and this is, as that meme goes, this is Manchester United we're talking about. Man U.
Yeah. Fully agree. I mean, it's not like I'm saying, oh, he's at risk of the sack or anything like that. I'm not being ridiculous like that. I'm just, the pressure will build, and it'll be it'll be too much if he doesn't get results. Now, January's a bit quieter. He talked about it in his press conference today, a little bit more time to have some training sessions, a few spare midweeks. It's not like there's only 3 games in January or something, but it's there's a few spare midweeks, and maybe he can work on that. Maybe they do some business. Like everyone's trying to work out what the FFP position is. I mean, actually, because it rolls on a 3-year basis, you can take a risk this window and in the summer and like kick the can down the road a little bit, but it comes back to bite you eventually. They also are probably planning for no European football next season. I mean, if United win the FA Cup, seems unlikely given that we're Arsenal, or the Europa League, more possible, but you wouldn't exactly say we're favourites on form. Then there may be a route into European football. It's very hard to plan for that, isn't it? And so they'll be calculating to take quite a large hit on the financials, and that's just going to feed into their thinking about transfers. Maybe they do something at left back. I mean, we've had 2 years now basically without a left back. It's absolutely mental. I mean, it seems like, it's hard to pin this on Tyrell Malacia because he's not had a lot of game time, but he doesn't seem quite ready yet, let's say, or maybe he never will be after spending 2 years out. Luke Shaw, we just can't rely on ever. It'd be wonderful if he was back, but we don't even know he's physically able to do it. And so maybe they do some business there. The obvious one is Fernandez, our old player. I mean, it's just kind of mad that you can sell him for 6 million and buy him back for 15, but there's a very obvious route there. If he wanted to do that, he might well be like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. So who knows? There's probably a legitimate question whether they know whether he's quite good enough yet after, even after 6 months of excellent display. So there's that potentially. But it doesn't seem like there'll be loads and loads of business. It looks more like they're interested in dumping players who are on high wages, and it's unsurprising, really. Although one player on high wages who they've triggered the extension for is Harry Maguire, who will be here for an extra year. I assume they'll do that with Amad Diallo as well, because he's out of contract in the summer. So they'll trigger the extra year and try and negotiate a new contract with him.
Mm-hmm. And Maguire's been great recently, but I feel like this game, I do fear a little bit for Maguire, because Maguire's great when he comes up against big strapping centre forwards, or when he's playing in a 3 in general, he's usually pretty good. But I feel like against teams like Liverpool, who've got very dynamic, agile forwards, then that's obviously where Maguire kind of struggles a lot, because he just doesn't have that balance. He doesn't have that ability to turn. He doesn't have that agility. And I feel like in a game like this, it's a game that can expose his weaknesses. But he has been great, and his mentality is just it really is incredible. Like, I mean, we've given him loads of stick, and loads of fans are giving him loads of stick, and he's been the player who probably has received the most stick out of anyone. Even I remember Roy Keane when he took the piss out of his voice on TV and stuff. Like, I know, I was also in Morocco for the World Cup, and the commentator, every time Maguire got the ball, he just laughed. Like, that's the kind of ridicule that like this guy's gone through, and it's really incredible that every single manager that's come in always really respects him, always really impressed with him, and even when he looks like he's about to be kicked out by a manager, he ends up getting back in the team like he did under Ten Hag. So yeah, true testament to his character.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that with Harry. The weaknesses are, as you say, with like mobile forwards. He looked very, very different against Newcastle than he did against City, for example, right? So we know his strengths and weaknesses. We've seen him at United for 5 years. He's not the ideal vision of the future, but he's such a pro, and just seems to be, the one that you can rely on to the character you can rely on when you need leaders. And Amram talked about that.
Yeah, he did
again
talk about
today. The need for leaders, and so I don't have a problem with extending Harry. I don't know whether this team will evolve to him being in the team, given that Amorim is so focused on especially wide defenders who can play and the centre defender who can step into midfield, and they don't. Neither of those profiles seem to fit Harry. But right now, I definitely have no problem with him staying on. It's be interesting whether he plays against Liverpool, though, because they are just all very flexible and dynamic. I mean, we'll have Salah coming in off the right. Obviously, he's the league's top goal scorer, probably even top assist maker. God, that's an awful term, isn't it? I'm not sure about that. His numbers are phenomenal. Just never, like, kind of waiting for him to slow down, basically, and that hasn't happened. And Diaz, again, can play across any of those forward positions. Has played quite a lot through the middle. I guess he'll be the other one. Who'll play off the left? There's both Darwin Núñez and Jota have been out of the side quite a bit recently, haven't they?
Yeah, Gakpo as well, potentially.
Gakpo may well play off the left, yeah. I mean, Liverpool are interesting because you know exactly how they'll play. And it's amazing how quickly Arne Slot has adapted their style. Like, they are, I mean, maybe this adaptation was happening under Klopp anyway. They are not the Gegenpressing team of old by any means. It's not like they don't press, but they are a more controlled possession team. But they've morphed from being, you're thinking, okay, well, they couldn't be better than under Klopp. They're going to be worse. And they weren't that great last season. So, like, let's wait for the failure to happen, as happened at Arsenal post-Wenger, although maybe it happened, during Wenger. And certainly United post-Fergie. And sadly, that has not happened. It's absolutely fucking sickening that suddenly they got better after changing out what we thought was one of the two best managers in the league.
I know. Can't believe it. I can't believe how it's actually gone for them. And it feels like they've just stumbled upon this sweet spot of having the ferocity of what they had under Klopp, but now the control that Slot brings. And I wonder if this will only be for a season or two. They'll be able to maintain this sweet spot, and maybe when a few players leave, because it looks like Salah might be leaving in the summer, Trent Alexander-Arnold almost certainly leaving in the summer. I wonder when Slot almost has more and more of a say on this team. I wonder if they'll kind of maybe drop down a little bit. But right now they have, like I say, they have the best of everything Klopp was giving them, and also this almost Zen-like persona of Slot, almost like a real mashing of two different personalities into one football team, and they're kind of working from both personalities right now, and both forms of tactic. Like, they do have the control, but also in the forward positions, they're so silky, they're so smooth, they're so good at choosing the right choice, making the right choice. They're so good at pressing still. They still have all that energy and everything. I mean, I am going to make myself puke by the amount I'm complimenting them right now, but it's true. They're by far the best team in the league. Like, they have been all season, really.
Yeah.
Maybe that also speaks to the fact that the league isn't that great, but they can wipe teams out like they did against West Ham the other day. And yeah, they've had a couple of hiccups here and there, but even when kind of everyone was saying, oh yeah, they've got big games, or they've been only beating the small teams, and then they went and beat Leverkusen, they beat Real Madrid, they beat City, and I mean, they've won the league already, it feels like, to be honest. It feels like, to me, I can't see how that doesn't turn around. But because also the teams aren't good enough, but also Liverpool aren't just good.
Yeah. Never place your bets on Arsenal to do anything. Absolutely fucking pathetic. Maybe Clear Lake FC will somehow pull out just save us all from Liverpool getting to 20. I mean, it's very impressive what Slot's done, but I don't want to have to praise them at all. You kind of expected all their older players to kind of slow down a bit, but Van Dijk and Salah have been two of the best players this season. So, that's unfortunate. They will. The evolution, without spending too much time talking about the Liverpool, the evolution will be interesting because it does look like they could lose Salah, who obviously, yes, Saudi Pro League has been desperate to get hold of, and Van Dijk's also out of contract. I suspect they'll find a way to get him another year. And it looks like Alexander-Arnold's off, so he could be spending a lot of money in the summer just to try and keep at the same level. I mean, we are kind of hoping, aren't we, that they will be really bad at some point. It's a sickener. Like, just
I
at the
know.
point that Manchester City fall off, Liverpool have to get good again. I'm so sick of having to choose between the two of them, and now don't even get to the choice because we don't laugh at City, but we're even rubbisher than
I
City.
know, like this season, you think. I mean, I wasn't. I wanted Ten Hag to go in April, so I wasn't exactly going into the season with the utmost confidence. But I remember that Liverpool game that we had at Old Trafford, and it was just exactly the same as it's been the last few seasons. And I was thinking, I thought these days were over now. Klopp had left, or we were getting a little bit better, and then we should be getting worse. But like, it's just. I really thought these days were over, and that we're having this conversation. Oh yeah, maybe in a couple of years when they lose their best players, they might be different. But I mean, everyone in football said that like they're going to be different next season. They're going to lose their mojo and everything, but it didn't happen. So, God, it's horrible. This is what I guess we made other teams feel like for so many years, and
Yeah,
at least at least they haven't been dominant, but I mean, they're going to make it 20 almost certainly, aren't they? So,
yeah. I mean, look, the Faustian bargain that Fergie made. Come on, at some point that's got to run out. Like, we cannot be rubbish forever. We cannot just continue making the wrong decisions forever. Well, we can. All right. I think that's about it. Team news is like pretty much everyone's available for United except for Luke Shaw and Liverpool. I think have Joe Gomez out and they're pretty much all fit. So it's just on Ruben to get the right formula to sneak a 1-0 victory with a scammy goal in the last minute. Although we won't be allowed a scammy goal because Michael Oliver's the ref. There's not a chance. Yeah, I'm just waiting. Oh God, that's the other thing. We just wait for the moment for him to make a celebrity of himself because he absolutely loves the attention. So what's he gonna do? Penalty at the Cop End in the 89th minute. Sending one of ours off. He invented a new rule at one point to send Dallo off. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just going to hold out for that John O'Shea moment. Who would it come from if it was going to be like John O'Shea? Harry Maguire, maybe? No.
Harry Maguire heading one into the Cop End to win it.
Oh, my God.
It would be sweet.
It's just before we go, I remember Limmy once said this grain of wisdom. He said, if you close your eyes and imagine something, you can pretend that imagination is reality. So I'm just going to imagine on Saturday when we're like 5-0 down in the second half that Harry Maguire has just nodded us into the lead later on. And no one can stop me thinking that is my reality. So that's what I'm going to do if things go badly.
Yeah, Sunday. But yes.
Sunday, sorry.
All right. Yeah. The hope that kills you, but we've got to have some kind of hope. Everyone visualize right now. Suck the ball in.
That's it. Manifesting is all the rage these days with the new age kids.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you, everyone, for listening or watching wherever you are. We'll be back after Liverpool 0, United 5, manifesting that one on Sunday. That would be amazing. I mean, given everything, seriously, though, given everything that's against us, the poor form, the new manager, the getting used to the new system, the fact that Liverpool are winning absolutely everything and have 12 men on Sunday. If United pull this off, it would be one of our greatest ever victories at Anfield. So, yeah.
It really will.
Bye now.